Billionaire father sees black waitress let his disabled son lead a dance step and his life changed. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you inside a grand ballroom. The chandeliers are glowing. The wealthy are gathered. Tuxedos and gowns everywhere. It's a charity gala hosted by one of the richest men in the city, a billionaire named Richard Warren. Now, Richard has everything: money, power, respect. But if you looked closely at his table, you'd notice something he tried hard to hide. His young son, Daniel was born with a disability. Walking was difficult. Moving with ease like other children was nearly impossible. And though Richard loved him, he often kept Daniel out of the spotlight. In his world of power and appearances, the boy was quietly tucked away, rarely noticed. But that night, everything was about to change. As the music swelled and couples filled the dance floor, Daniel's eyes locked onto them. His little face lit up with longing. He wanted to be out there, to feel the joy, to move with the music. But his father was too busy shaking hands and talking deals to notice. Someone else did. Her name was Maya, a young waitress. She wasn't part of the wealthy elite, just a woman doing her job, serving drinks, clearing plates, staying invisible. But unlike everyone else, she saw Daniel. She saw not a billionaire's son, not a fragile boy, but a child with a heart waiting to shine. She walked over, knelt beside him, and whispered, "Would you like to dance?" Daniel's eyes widened. He shook his head nervously. "I can't," he said. Maya just smiled. "Yes, you can. You can lead, and I'll follow." The boy hesitated, then reached out his small hand. And in that moment, the entire room held its breath. Maya led him onto the polished wooden floor. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. A waitress, dancing with a billionaire's disabled son? Surely, this was a mistake. But then, Daniel took his first step. It was shaky, uncertain. Maya let him guide her anyway. He stumbled again, and again. But she laughed softly, making the mistakes part of the rhythm. Step by step, Daniel began to move with confidence, and suddenly, magic filled the room. The boy's face lit up. His laughter rang out louder than the music. He wasn't struggling anymore, he was leading. The crowd, once whispering, now watched in awe. Then, slowly, applause began. Soft at first, then louder, until the entire ballroom clapped along. With Daniel's steps at the edge of the dance floor, Richard stood frozen. His chest tightened. Tears welled in his eyes. For years, he had hidden his son out of fear of pity, fear of judgment. But here was Daniel, standing in front of hundreds of people, not as weak, but as strong. And it wasn't money that had given him this moment. Not power, not influence. It was a waitress, a stranger with kindness in her heart. When the music ended, Daniel wrapped his arms around Maya. "Thank you," he whispered. The crowd erupted in cheers, but Richard barely heard them. He walked across the room, dropped to his knees, and hugged his son tightly. With tears streaming down his face, he whispered, "I'm so proud of you, Daniel." Then he looked at Maya. "You've given me something my billions never could," he said. "You reminded me what matters." That night, everything changed. Richard Warren stopped being just a billionaire. He became a father who finally understood that true wealth wasn't in money, but in love, courage, and the moments that bring us closer to the ones we care about most. And all it took Was one waitress, one dance, and one little boy brave enough to take the lead.